The Auburn Tigers came into the 2022 NCAA men's basketball tournament as a 2 seed in the Midwest Regional, and a lot of people thought that Auburn had the team to make it back to the Final Four again. Auburn's first game of the tournament took place in Greenville, South Carolina against the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Kind of funny for the people in the Greenville area to see the Tigers and the Gamecocks playing at Bon Secure Wellness and it not be Clemson and South Carolina, but it was Auburn versus Jacksonville State. The Auburn Tigers came out and got off to a pretty good start, and the game was actually close for the first 16 minutes of the game. But Jacksonville State, who had lived and died by the 3 until that point, started to come up a little bit short on some of those 3-pointers, and the talent and athleticism of Auburn took over about 4 minutes before halftime and carried over into the beginning of the second half. Auburn pulled away, and as the end result, came away with a 18-point win. It was a special day for Bruce Pearl, as it was his birthday. Bruce Pearl celebrated his 62nd birthday with a tournament victory, and Auburn was then set to take on the winner of the Miami Hurricanes and Southern Cal Trojans. That game ended up being a hard-fought game, back and forth, and even a controversial ending with some calls that went against Southern Cal. But when it was all said and done, the Miami Hurricanes had advanced on to the next round to take on Auburn. On Sunday, when the two teams met, the Auburn Tigers got off to an extremely slow start. Walker Kessler picked up a couple of quick fouls, had to go to the bench, and Miami was able to jump on Auburn early and build a double-digit lead. Auburn spent the rest of the first half trying to claw their way back in to get even, and actually got the lead down to a 1-point game at the half, and Auburn had the momentum going into the half. But in the second half, the same start that doomed the Tigers in the first half repeated again in the second half as they got off to a slow start. Miami again with a fast start. First 3 minutes of the second half, always an important time for teams. And as a coach, I used to stress that with my team. But Miami jumped out on an 8-0 run to start the second half against Auburn, pushed the lead to 9, and once again Auburn was forced into playing catch up the rest of the game. I asked Coach Bruce Pearl about that, about getting behind in 2 poor starts in each half, if he thought that it took a lot out of his team and mentally affected them, and he said he thought that was a problem there. He even mentioned, too, that at halftime he's thought about the possibility of starting a different team in the second half because the Miami Hurricanes present a lot of matchup problems. Miami's tallest player is 6'10", and then they're basically the other 4 guys are smaller players that are quicker, smaller, and scrappy type players. Auburn has 7'1" with Kessler and with Smith with 6'10", though, so you would think that they would have the dominance there. But Miami really caused matchup problems with their shorter, quicker players. The bigger Auburn players had trouble covering them. With their scramble defense that Jim Larinaga, the coach from the Hurricanes, said that he's been using for a long time, has even told us where we could go to buy the video and the book to learn what it's all about, though. Played a solid game. And again, the 2 big men, the Twin Towers from Auburn, with Smith and Kessler, were limited to 12 points combined for the 2 of them. Smith had 10, Kessler had 2, and again, Kessler could not even play due to matchup problems, and with Auburn being forced into a catch-up situation, they didn't even use him the last half of the ball game, though. The Hurricanes were able, again with their speed, to get a lot of fast breaks, that they actually outscored on fast break points. They outscored Auburn 30-1. And the other thing about the Miami Hurricanes is they don't turn the basketball over. They had 4 turnovers the whole game and had only 7 turnovers for the whole weekend they spent in Greenville. They do a good job of taking care of the basketball. So the end result is the SEC champion Auburn Tigers season came to an abrupt end as they finished 28-6 and left Coach Bruce Pearl scratching his head, though. Said he was very proud of what his team had come together this year, was very proud of the regular season championship that they accomplished and the good things that they did, and just were a great group of guys to be around, and said that he will next be ready. We'll start back on trying to build things back and start getting ready for next year, though. So not a good story or a good season ending for the Auburn Tigers as they lose in the game to go to the Sweet 16 to the Miami Hurricanes by the score of 79-61. Reporting for Lindy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting, I am the coach, Dick Cox.